Hey, we got paid.
Coffee? What?
If you bring it up, I'm going to say that he's a basketball player because I don't have any stats. I just don't think he's a basketball player.
What would make
Is
you
Mike
think
on?
that?
His appearance. He just doesn't look like a basketball player.
But he proves every night he plays.
Okay, here we go. All right, Johnny, here we go. Let's get her started.
I'm not talking about this on.
Go ahead, Brock.
Bring us in.
Hit it, Brock.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to GV Talk Sports. I'm Brock Elsesser, and I'm here with
Jonathan Rizzo.
I'm Kennedy.
Chelsea.
Riley.
Mr. Dutt.
And Mr. Horton.
It's always good to have Mr. Horton with us, isn't it? All right.
Oh, see how that is?
Hey, local sports, we started some practices. I heard John and Brock and maybe Riley talking a little bit about being sore. What do you think about the first week of practice? What goes through your mind as an athlete on the first week of practice?
first week is usually the toughest weeks of practices. Usually when you get the most conditioning and running in, and later on you start doing more like game type drills and kind of like easier drills to keep you like ready for the game, so you're not sore.
Okay.
So
Usually the first week it's less like, well, for us at least, it's less basketball and more running and weight room work and
Which is
stuff
fine,
like that, which is, it's good to get you in shape.
yeah.
Mhm.
It's just, it's not always fun, but it has to be done to be ready, but
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
not always fun.
Right.
I'm just going to throw this out there because I've thought about this too. Like, if you are a one-sport athlete, those type of practices usually don't exist in the first week. You know that, right?
Yeah.
What do you
Because you've been doing it all up
Right.
until then,
Right.
right?
Well, and there's times too when that first week of practice is not that hard, right? Because you've, been playing up until now. This year we happen to have a couple weeks off, right, in between. But there's times where you're playing soccer up until 2 days before basketball practice starts,
Yeah.
or even into basketball practice.
You ever
How
notice that though?
What's that?
Like you can just walk off a soccer field, but then when you get on a basketball court, it's like you can't breathe.
I
It's
know.
just-
it's
it's
weird.
completely
It's
different.
a different
Yeah.
type
Yeah.
of running. You
It's
run
so
down the
weird.
basketball court twice and you go, I literally can't breathe right now.
When
Just
you're
happened.
Yeah.
when you're playing soccer, there's a lot of chances for you to rest.
Yeah,
like you
you
can walk for like half the game. In basketball, you
Wow! Notice that was a non-soccer player who threw that out.
Like,
Oh,
That's not wrong.
I wouldn't say,
From where I used
I wouldn't
to
say
play, I had a lot
half
of
the
rest.
Yeah.
not, not,
but-
not quite half is a bit of an exaggeration.
But you have
the
downtime
field,
between plays.
the
that
field
you're not
is-
I mean, I
playing.
guess it depends on what position you're playing, because me and Riley are halfbacks,
Yeah.
so
Well,
from
I
our
played-
perspective, it's just up and down the field.
I played midfield, and I did more running than like the vast majority of players. But still, though, it's soccer. There's not all that much running unless the ball is like on your side, really,
Well,
because the field is so big. Like
in an average soccer game, midfielders run about 9 miles.
Yeah, I wasn't going to go anywhere with saying that soccer players don't run. That, although it is different. It is different. It's
Basketball's more of a sprint.
right. Basketball's like a sprint, stop,
Yeah.
sprint, stop, sprint, stop. And soccer, there are times where it's not complete sprint. There is some jogging,
Yep.
but what am I talking? I'm a football player. We'd go for 3 seconds and then huddle up and do it again. All right.
That'd be great.
Speaking of football players, Duke played.
Oh my
That
God.
was a good
Oh, right
one.
off the bat.
Wow, he
Good
goes
one.
there.
All right, John.
Yes, I would agree that Zion Williamson probably could be a football player. He's
Okay.
bigger than what did they say? He was just about the same size as the Duke offensive lineman.
He's about the same as the average. I think the average for Duke offensive line was 290, I think they said.
So clearly, Aaron Judge is not a baseball player.
I don't know.
Because
I-
they're like the same
They're the
size.
same.
I don't
Judge
think
is exactly the
6'7",
same size.
282.
I like Judge, but I think he made a wrong choice playing baseball. I
Really?
really do.
Okay.
I think
He
he
should've
should have
played
played football.
basketball?
No, football.
Did you watch the game last night? You took us into Duke basketball, so I got to go there.
Yeah,
Did
I
you
did.
watch it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the 28 points didn't prove that Zion's a basketball player?
Nope,
Well,
What did it prove?
not much.
So-
I don't think Kentucky's good this year. I really don't. I think they're extremely overrated.
Here, tell me what Zion doesn't have as a player right now that could make him a basketball player.
Footwork.
His footwork. He's like
Are you kidding me,
he's like one of
John?
the quickest guys out there.
Wow.
It might be fast, but
Do you really
His
pay
footwork
attention to the
is
way that
really
he
good,
moves on the
John.
court?
he just doesn't when you watch him play, he doesn't look like a basketball player on the court.
He looks to me like a very large basketball player.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
I think probably the arguments you're giving, and we talked about this a little bit before the show started. The arguments you're giving could have been given to or on LeBron when LeBron first started, because LeBron's what, 6'8", 260, 250, 260,
Yeah.
and it was like a Mack truck driving through a chicken coop. All right, it was. Right, and but Zion, I thought his footwork was amazing last night.
Yes, it
Just to
was.
be honest with you, from
really
a
was.
standpoint. But again, I'm a Duke fan as well, so I want to make sure that I try to keep that out of it. I mean, I look at the fact that Syracuse thumped East Washington,
Yeah.
but they thumped them. It wasn't even close. But look at the other side. Kentucky was supposed to be the number 2 team in the country, and Duke just beat them by 34 points. I mean, wow, that's just amazing to me. They put up 118.
I do think Duke is going to be really good this year. I think they're probably going to win the national championship unless something happens
We're
crazy,
sponsored by
but-
Home Depot, in case you're wondering.
Yeah.
But here,
Yeah.
before last night, the record for points in a Duke game by a freshman player was 25 points. This year, they had 2 players beating that, with Zion Williamson and R.J. Barrett, with R.J. scoring 32 and Zion scoring 28.
In their first game.
In their
not
very
in any
First game,
game.
right?
In
Not
their first
any
game,
but
yeah.
How
Their
many
debut.
did Reddish have last night?
Reddish had 19.
Yeah,
He had like the first 8 points or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was
Started off
hitting
hot.
very well
Yeah.
from the 3-point line.
You know who my favorite player was last night, though?
What?
Jack White.
Oh, Jack White.
Well, just because what did he do? He did nothing but get steals, get rebounds,
Yeah.
and play great
I
defense.
think he had like 4 points, but he had like 8 or 9 rebounds.
Right. And a guy like that is essential to a team that's got that many studs. You got to
Right.
have somebody who's willing to just go out and do the dirty stuff and not get the press that the other guys are going to
I
get.
mean, there's so many options on Duke too to score. Even
Ugh.
if one player is having a bad night, there's at least 2 more that can pick up the.
I don't know. I've only seen one game, and I haven't seen anybody have a bad night yet. So it ought to be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they all look great last night.
Yeah.
On a more positive note, North Carolina also did win over
They did.
Wolford last
Oh.
night.
No, that's good because Wolford beat them last year, so that's good.
Yeah.
I was going to
On a
bring that up.
positive note.
I was going to bring that up. They went to Wolford, which is really pretty surprising. Duke and Kentucky played neutral court,
Yeah.
right? Those big schools, the Syracuse play outside of New York anytime before January.
Oh.
Not usually, right? They play all their games at home.
Unless they've been playing in like the Hawaii tournament.
Right, the
or
Maui
whatever.
tournament or whatever. Right. North Carolina went to Wolford for their season opener.
Right?
What is that?
Awesome.
That's right. You can't get heaven in a rubber canoe because God's favorite color is Carolina blue. All right. Yeah, I hear that all the time. So who is how many see Kansas, Michigan State?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's better, Kansas or Duke?
Duke.
Duke, definitely.
I thought
Wow.
Kansas looked pretty
Nope.
good.
if you
Yeah.
watched the Michigan and Kansas game, it didn't look like. I mean, they won by a good majority, but
Yeah,
it
but-
didn't look like the beatdown compared to
Yeah.
Duke and Kentucky. Like
Yeah.
Michigan was still making plays that it made them look like they're still into
Mm-hmm.
it, but Kentucky, like,
Duke was everywhere.
Yeah.
They ran up and down the court. They would hit a 3-pointer. They would take you
yeah,
inside,
they were just going.
kill you from any part of the court. Really, they were unstoppable that night.
This is going to
Ward
be a
with-
long,
for
long
Michigan
basketball
State.
season.
It is, yeah. Now, it could be because Michigan State is actually better than Kentucky. Is that fair to say? Is Michigan State better than Kentucky?
It looked better
Maybe.
than Kentucky.
Michigan
last
State
night.
always defensively will be much tougher than most of the teams
It's
in
too hard to
Division I.
tell.
Right,
now.
too early.
Last
Yeah,
night, I
but-
do think that Michigan played better than Kentucky.
Michigan didn't play against Duke though.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Can
We'll
I
see
ask
what
a
happens.
question?
You can always ask a question.
If you are Zion and you are, or I even thought of a guy like Shaq that's that big, why do you choose basketball? Why, you know what I'm saying?
Maybe he. I mean,
You have your choice. Why did Judge choose baseball? And you wonder why, because they probably could play anything. Why,
I think if they choose basketball, it's because of the money.
you think basketball, they make more money, you think,
Mhm.
than football players?
I don't think it's the reason. I
The
think it's because
baseball
they
players?
enjoy basketball more than they enjoy the other sports. I don't think it's
Oh,
all
you
because
think-
of the money.
You think that's where their heart lies,
Yeah,
maybe?
Zion's only played
think they all
basketball anyways.
Get a ridiculous amount of money,
Yeah.
no matter what.
Yeah, either way.
Football's hard on your body.
It is. It is. Well, in football, you're done playing by the time you're 34. You know, you've been beat up so much. Is there a different feel to each of those sports? Like, do you get a different sense? You guys have played baseball and soccer and volleyball and softball and a couple of you run track, whatever. Is there a different buzz in the feeling of playing? So the fact that you're in that gym, there's a different feeling to being a basketball player than there is to, at least for me, for any other sport. You know, the crowd, you know, when you're, I guess, in a 100,000 stadium for football, that could be interesting. But
Or the pro soccer stadiums too. When
Sure,
you get over in
sure.
Europe, but in America,
which are a
it's
little
just-
crazy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but what do you think? Like, obviously,
Well,
Brock, you're a basketball player. You prefer
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
Why?
I don't know. It's just like everything about the game, really. I just
Okay.
love the game of basketball, you know. Just
Tell-
the atmosphere of it.
Chelsea, you love the game.
Yes.
Why?
I would rather watch a basketball game. I'd rather play in a basketball game than even think about watching football, I feel like. It's more, I don't know, I feel like it's more like hyped up. I don't know. As a player, I feel like I would rather play Duke basketball than football, college football anywhere, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
The whole atmosphere around college basketball. is
Cameron
like-
Indoor?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
The Dean Dome.
Yeah. Well, but, Kennedy, I mean, you're a softball player first.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you do the other things so that you have something to do until we get to softball.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I get that. That's fine. What is it about softball that draws you to softball as opposed to the other ones?
I think it's obviously a team sport, but it's also very personal.
Mm-hmm.
So like you have this to work on, you have this to work on, but like someone else you don't need each other, I guess, as much.
Mhm.
Like for me, like it's kind of just, I feel like it's like almost like me and Emily. That's it.
Mhm.
And then as soon as it's hit, it turns into a team sport. I
Right.
guess.
Right.
So I mean,
All right.
I'm not really sure why.
So some of that matches personality.
One,
Yeah.
one thing that I can say is that the sport that I get the most nervous in playing is definitely when I'm running a track event.
I
'Cause
always
that-
used to too.
Why is that?
Really?
It's I don't know. It's just
know.
like because you're getting ready. You're just like you feel
Yeah,
nervous, and then when
I would
the gun
always get nervous
the gun
for
goes
track
off,
meets.
and then boom, the race is done in 12 seconds.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about baseball. It's just you get up to bat and you got really one chance, and if you don't do
Yeah.
something, you're probably gonna be sitting down. So
So the flow of basketball is better because there's more ability
Yeah.
to get into
And
the
soccer,
flow,
it's
and
just-
in soccer, it's
it's
not
just
doesn't come down
different.
to that one
Mhm.
particular moment.
like
Whereas
you can recover from mistake in basketball and soccer, but in baseball, if you make a mistake, it's pretty much
pretty compounded,
Yeah.
pretty. But Kennedy, you relish that. You love that part. That
I
this is just
love-
me and the pitcher, and we're gonna see what happens.
I don't know. I just
Mano y mano, let's go. Let's see what
I
happens.
kind of like the pressure a little.
Uh-huh.
Like it's kind of the adrenaline, especially
Mm-hmm.
from where I play, because there's a lot of pressure,
Right, sure.
and it just and
Pass ball could be the end of the game.
Right. But when you're at bat, I think that's the best part for me,
Interesting.
because you could either smash or you strike out,
Yeah,
or you ground out or whatever. But
right.
I mean, I don't know.
Well, I never had a race when I was in track that I didn't have to go to the bathroom right before the race
Well,
started. I was terrified.
Like, I'd almost have to
Same way
throw
for
up
me.
before like every
Yeah.
race, and it would be like a random one too that meant
Yeah.
nothing, but I
Right,
still
but
like.
you're just jacked.
Yeah.
That's too odd that you guys get nervous for
It was
track.
Yeah.
it was
Not odd,
for
but it's
track
interesting.
meets. I never really got nervous for
Oh, I
soccer
feel
games
nauseous
or
before every
basketball games or
softball
whatever.
game.
It was always track
could
meets.
be-
I don't know why.
Yeah, same way for me.
And I always feel nauseous.
Well, and there's
before
a
softball games.
different warm up issue too. You know, when you warm up as a track athlete, after the first warm up, you're by yourself,
Mhm.
right? But with a basketball team, you're warming up together. The
Yeah.
music's playing,
Yeah.
the crowd is doing whatever. The
Yeah.
pep band might be playing.
Yep.
It's a different feel.
Mhm.
Mr. Horton, how about you? You were a basketball player first, and then everything else second.
I
Why?
love playing baseball though.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
What about it?
I think the individual part of it,
Mhm.
for me, you can work on your game in basketball too, but you really rely on a lot of other people.
Right.
But more relaxed. Basketball, basketball can be pretty intense.
Right.
When you're in there, you can't hear anything, and it's confusing, and I think that's the worst part, not the worst, but the most exciting part about it, too.
That's the part I love.
Yeah.
That's the part I love, just the chaos.
Can't
and
even,
the-
like, I remember I'd be in games, like, in college and in high school, and I'd look over, and I could see my coach's mouth moving. I couldn't hear what he was saying.
Right.
I knew he was
Right.
saying something, and I'd go,
Got it.
Got it.
got
Yeah.
it, we're on track.
I think that's why I like baseball and softball. Is like in the outfield, you can't hear anyone but yourself, and I think gives you a chance to focus. Like
Lonely.
really, is it lonely?
Yes.
I don't know.
Is it lonely,
I haven't been
Jocelyn?
up there in a while. But I think like I'm right next to the fence, and I can't hear anything.
Right.
And it just, I don't know. You really have to focus.
Right. So thinking about that focus idea, how do fans affect how you guys play? How do
Basketball
they-
freaks me out because I can hear everyone. Because you're like, you're standing there and you're like, wow.
Right.
know
John,
what-
how does it affect how you play? Do fans make a difference to you? Could you play soccer, basketball, baseball with no fans at all?
I think I could, but I don't think it would do as good. I think when somebody's saying something that just makes you mad, like if they're like almost the opposing fans, it just makes you mad, and that just gets you going.
Yeah, like
For me, at least.
Uh-huh.
like I remember like I would like block somebody and I'd hear like a fan from the other team saying like, "Oh, ref, that's a foul." And then I just like look that way. I'm like, "Are you serious?"
Riley, what do you think? What do fans do to you, or for you, or however?
I don't. When it's negative, I don't really take it to heart. I guess because that's just how fans will be.
They're like, no, is this
People-
right? Everybody's got an
People
opinion.
will always look at things in their own way, anyways. So I mean, it's nice when you get cheering, but I don't think it really affects me too much.
As an athlete, when you become a fan, does it make you a better fan or a worse fan?
I'm
I have no idea.
Worse.
Worse? I can
Because I have no
You
idea what I'm talking
bum.
about in basketball.
As a
I-
fan, you
it's made
just
me better.
I don't know.
I didn't hear what you said there, Kim.
Well, you've played-
Can you say it again?
Oh, I don't know what I'm doing in basketball still, and I yell random things, and she's
Okay.
usually like, no, not close.
Johnny, I'm sorry.
You have more tendency to like almost yell like at the ref because when you know the game
Yeah.
and when you play it, you get like
Mm.
more fired up about watching it. I think.
Okay.
Me and
That's
my
probably
dad
true.
does it
The better you know
in
the
softball.
game, the more you see of things that you disagree with. But that's it.
Yeah.
When you're
The
a
intricacies.
Fan, yeah, when you're a fan, you like scream out, "Come on, that's a call."
Right. That's really interesting. You
I
know,
did when my kids played.
yeah, I always love it when parents get fired up when I say, "Hey, you know what? The officiating is so much better after my kids graduated," and you know they're like, "What are you talking about? That was a horrible." Well, okay, yeah, but it does change. You know, your perspective changes each time you watch a game. So if I watched, I'll be honest with you, I have liked Syracuse since I was younger than you, John. But watching Syracuse Eastern Michigan is a different perspective on the game than when I'm watching Duke Kentucky. Just because I know Syracuse is going to beat Eastern Michigan by 100. Okay, I just know it's going to happen. So, or East Washington or whoever it was they played. When I know the game's going to be tight, that changes how I watch things. If I know that the game's going to be a blowout, it changes how I watch things. If it's going to be a modified game, it changes how I watch things.
Doesn't it as an athlete too? When you know that you're better than somebody
Yeah.
on the court, and if there's a bad call, you just kind of go, ah.
Right. Right.
I think it almost makes it worse. If you know your team is better than another team, and then like you get a bad call against you, I think it makes you more angry. But then I think it actually helps in the long run.
Have you ever had a game where there wasn't a bad call?
Probably not.
I mean, I've played in games where the majority of the calls were good calls.
But have you ever had a game where there
No,
wasn't a bad
never,
call?
never like a fully good call game. But
Mr. Horton, have you ever had a game where there wasn't at least one bad call?
Well, I mean, every call is 50% good and 50%
Yeah.
bad.
True, exactly, right. So if it was against me, it was clearly a bad call.
Right. No. I mean, yeah, out of bounds calls and things like that. You know, there's times in soccer games, right? You guys are playing soccer, you clearly went off the other guy's leg
Yeah.
or other girl's leg, clearly. And, no, we're going this way. But, no, we're still going this way. Yeah.
Yeah, one time
It
a coach,
happens.
said to me, it's not what really happens, it's what the ref thinks that happens that matters. So reality is unimportant, especially since there's no replay in high school.
Can we talk about Buffalo Bills?
Do we
just a
have
little
to?
bit?
I was hoping to avoid that.
Hoping to avoid the Bills?
Yeah, I don't really want that.
Although I did give you guys a little bit of a prediction, didn't I? I told you the Sabres were going to score as many points as the Bills. And the Sabres had 9 goals on Saturday, and the Bills scored 9 points on Sunday.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, my goodness.
I saw that.
Sabres can score. It's really fun to watch. But anyway, the Bills. Did you see they cut Gaines?
Yeah, I saw that.
They cut a defensive back because he had, 90 yards in penalties or something on Sunday? Which is amazing. I mean, that's impressive. That you had more yards in penalties than I think the Bills had passing. But that's okay.
The Bill, oh my God, I love it.
So the question is, why is Nathan Peterman still in the NFL?
Because they see potential.
I don't
Okay.
see anything.
I think they threw him in too soon. I think if they would have just let him develop as a backup for maybe like 5-6 years.
Or
So
10.
kind of the Frank Reich kind of thing, where he just sat behind Kelly forever, and then if you need him for a game or two, he'd be okay. But he just can't handle being the man.
Yeah, kind of like what Jimmy Garoppolo did for the Patriots when Brady was suspended and hurt, and then what Brissett did too.
Right.
That's the best example I can think of recently. Or
It doesn't hurt to have Belichick as a coach as well.
yeah,
Why don't
Okay.
we just
Ryan
draft Zion?
Fitzpatrick, kind of.
Sarcasm's unnecessary. Yeah. Is there any hope for the Bills? Is there obviously not this year? They're 2 and forever. But what's the
Hard to
plan
believe they
going
won 2
forward?
games.
Lose the rest on purpose.
The tank
Yeah.
Start Peterman the rest of the games.
to get what? To get another
As high of a
quarterback,
draft pick as you can.
or to what would you go after if you were the Bills as GM?
Draft picks.
Yeah.
Don't we have to get that stud offensive lineman or a linebacker, somebody that you need those players, right?
Yeah, I mean, everyone says how much Tyrod made affect seem gone, but no. What I really see is how much Eric Wood and Richie Incognito meant to the team after they left.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But you're not going to draft an offensive lineman that's going to make that much of an impact. I think that has to be a free agent signing.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I don't think we should go draft picks for offensive linemen.
But that's
Right.
what
They
most people spend
well, and
their
they
draft
have
picks on.
what $70 million in cap space next year. That they can go out and get some studs. But who would you draft first? Would you draft another quarterback, or do you hope that Josh Allen's the answer?
I think you draft a running back.
Okay.
What
So
is Josh Allen's status? How long is he out for?
I don't know the answer to that question. I mean, he was week to week. Any thoughts, anybody? You know anything about Josh Allen?
I don't know.
I don't think he's the real deal.
You don't think he is?
I don't.
Do you think he could be?
No.
Do you think he should try playing basketball?
That's funny.
Maybe he should play for the Buffalo Braves.
I saw somebody at the Sabres game with a Braves hat. That was awesome. I was like, wow, the Buffalo Braves.
Jonathan, do you want to throw a Major League Soccer reference in there somehow? You've been wanting to talk all week about this. Nothing? Or what is it, Premier League? Sorry,
Champions League.
Champions League? I'm sorry, I just really just blew that completely.
That was rough. You were struggling there, but that's okay. Yeah, I just wonder, the defense apparently is for the Bills is supposed to be in place for next year, right? I was just trying to find something on Josh Allen. I couldn't find anything. Do you go get a wide receiver, or is Terrell Pryor the answer?
He's not the only answer. He's a part of the picture, I think.
Calvin Benjamin's looked really good.
No.
Oh my God.
Sorry. Hey,
Wait.
there's a dude that is big enough to play basketball.
He makes
What
me
was
so
the
mad
one
watching
ESPN
him.
announcer said
The
he's
Bills are so
a
good.
Popeye's biscuit away from being a tight end.
Oh no.
He struggles to
good.
get to the ball off his routes. He has to push off the players and he gets called on it for pass interference, but he just makes me so mad watching him.
Calvin Benjamin?
Yeah.
Too funny. What do you do with Shady McCoy?
Trade,
him. Well, it's past the trade deadline, so
Well, yeah.
nothing. He's just gone. There's
Is
nothing
this
can-
his last year?
No. He's probably,
He's
I bet he
probably
goes
either
back
going
to
to
Philly.
retire or he's going to leave. So it's his last year in Buffalo.
Interesting.
Yeah, I bet he goes back to Philly.
I don't see why Philly would want him.
They were trying to get him earlier in the season. They were trying to come up with plans for deals.
Unless they're trying to have him like mentor Ajayi and the other young running back.
Corey
I
Clement?
can't think of his name. Yeah, Corey Clement.
Maybe.
And Wendell Smallwood. If they still have him, I don't know.
Right.
It looks like we got some shout outs on Facebook over there. Who's, any comments over there? Nice. Thanks everybody for your comments.
Yeah,
How
thank
about
you.
that? Oh, burn. Hey,
Wow.
don't forget that book right there too that we got to.
Talk about the book, Riley.
Trumpet Call of Victory.
2 victory.
2 victory.
It is about.
This
Do you know
is
this book?
I don't know this book at
this
all.
is about the year our own Mr. Hoffman won states in high school.
Yeah, that's about Digger Phelps and Paul Huffman's senior year. They wrote a book about it.
signed.
They wrote a book, and it is signed by
Signed by our own.
Paul Hoffman.
Go
Bonnies.
Bonnies, Paul Hoffman. Wow, look at that. That's pretty cool.
Where the
You ever
tabs
had
are
a-
in there.
You've ever had a book written about you?
No, like a police file, but that's
That,
just kidding.
book 'em.
You don't need a
kidding.
book
Book 'em.
when you're in the Hall of Fame.
That's it.
Oh, that's
Future
right.
Hall of
When
Fame.
you're a future Hall of Famer. That's when the
Hall of
book
Fame will be
book
so
deals
many
come.
books.
That's it.
We'll write books.
That is so interesting.
How is our boys basketball team going to be this year?
I think we have a good chance of winning sectionals, honestly.
Yeah, we don't wanna jinx anything.
Well, yeah,
but
but
we have
I'm just saying we have
we have
the
talent and the ability
yeah.
to do it.
Yeah,
Do
You guys are
jinxes
big, right?
yeah. We're
do
one of the bigger
jinxes
teams.
exist?
I think so.
I think if you, I don't know if it's like a jinx as in like just like bad luck, but it's like if you really think you're gonna win, you might get like cocky.
Well, who's your competition?
CG Finney.
Maybe we don't know yet.
Well, we played I don't know, maybe probably CG Finney.
Are you D2,
Maybe. They're one of the
D1?
teams.
D1
D1.
probably.
D1?
We're D1. Yeah.
Okay.
We were D2 last year, but we're D1
Perry.
this year. We're right on the line between the two. So you bring back how many players on that varsity team, varsity boys team?
We lost 3 players
Three.
last year.
Okay.
Only
How many
one was
that
a
would be?
starter.
Yeah, only one was a starter.
Yeah, but he
so
was the
He was the best player.
leading
though, so-
scorer, right? He was a player. Right, and we lost 2 starters on the girls' side.
Mhm.
We'll bring back 5 players.
Hell.
Yeah.
Oh. I had to think about it for a
Yeah.
minute.
It could get interesting. I don't know.
I hate to interrupt, but we are at final thoughts.
Really, we got there in a hurry.
We got there in a hurry.
All right, so we'll let everybody collect their final thoughts. John's probably has something to do with soccer, but we're not sure.
It's not.
Oh, all
Oh,
right.
okay. Final thoughts,
Okay.
you want me to start? Because I usually
Yeah,
drop
why
a
don't you?
bombshell.
Yeah. Just, what did you drop last time? What did you say? Something about the Bills, right?
They'll draft Johnny Manziel, they'll pick up Johnny.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Funny that didn't happen. Weird.
I'm going to stick with my original answer.
You probably-
I still think they're going to pick up Johnny
You
Manziel. heard
They have
it.
probably
days.
you
They have
probably
6
jinxed
days.
it, didn't
6
you?
days.
You jinxed it.
I jinxed it.
By saying it out loud.
Yeah.
Okay, John. final thought.
The Yankees signed Bryce Harper this offseason.
Ooh.
I was just looking at that. He turned down an offer from the Nationals, an aggressive offer.
Oh,
Yeah,
he didn't
aggressive.
wanna
I
go
don't know
back.
what that means.
Me neither,
but
but yeah, that's what it said in the.
Does that mean like they got him down and gave him noogies or something?
Yeah, exactly. You take this money.
Oh my god.
Swirly.
Girls, any final
That's what his hair
thoughts?
kind of looks like most of the time. Anyway.
No, not today. I don't have one.
I'm gonna have to agree with Jay Billis. He said yesterday that Syracuse is gonna go to the Final Four. I'm gonna agree with him.
All right.
So I didn't know, you told me this morning we were talking that Coach Boeheim's son actually.
Yeah,
plays.
buddy. He
He
started last
started.
night. I don't think he'll
not
be
sure
starting
why.
next
That's
time.
stupid.
Buddy Boeheim.
Delajay will be starting. I don't think he'll
And
be
then he won a
starting.
Section 5 title last year, right?
Yeah, last year.
Who did he play for? Last year?
Jamesville
James-
DeWitt.
Oh, Janesville DeWitt. Yeah.
Is
Okay.
that a prep school, private school?
No, that's
High school?
a public high school. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, Brock. Final
Buddy Boeheim played 27 minutes, got 3 points.
I'm gonna say that Duke is easily winning the championship, the Final Four. Not the Final Four, but winning March Madness.
The championship.
Yeah, the championship.
I got 2. I don't think Bryce Harper or Manny Machado go to the Yankees. And
Where do they go then?
I don't know, not to the Yankees.
These are
And
final
I don't think
thoughts.
Machado
Final
does,
thoughts.
but-
it's my final thought, John. Leave me alone. Zion's not a basketball player. Where are they going? All right, settle down. They're not going to the Yankees, and Duke wins it all.
I think the ACC gets at least 7, if not 10, teams into the NCAA tournament. I
Yeah.
think they're going to be stacked.
I can agree with that. North Carolina will be one of them.
Absolutely.
They're okay.
Syracuse, Duke, that's just going to be brutal.
Be crazy.
You got Virginia. I mean, that's great.
Nice. All right, Bryce.
Right. Okay, Bryce Harper.
Okay, Bryce Harper now at the table with us.
LeBryce Elsesser.
Who wants to sign us out?
I will. Thanks to everybody tuning in on WRAQ 92.7 and for watching on the YouTube live stream. This is GV Talk Sports, and I'm Brock Elsesser.
I'm Jonathan.
I'm Kennedy.
Chelsea.
Riley.
Mr. Dodd.
Yeah, Mr.